Today we are diving into one of the absolute best tools you can have in your parenting toolkit, something to help your child face their fears and really build up their resilience. The best part? It's a super simple technique you can start using at home, like right away. So let's get into it. So tell me, does this sound familiar? Your child gets that look, you know the one. Maybe it's about going to school or sleeping in their own bed. Suddenly their anxiety just flares up, and your immediate instinct, of course, is to protect them, right? To help them avoid whatever is causing them so much distress. And while that comes from a place of love, it often traps both of you in this cycle where you just feel, well, stuck.
You know, here's the really tricky thing about anxiety. Every time we help our kids avoid the scary thing, the fear actually gets stronger over time. It's like it teaches their brain, see, the only way to feel safe is to run. But what if we could teach them a different lesson? Turns out there's a proven method that you can use right in your own home.
It's called the step-ladder approach. You might also hear it called an exposure ladder. The idea is so simple, but honestly, it's profound. Instead of asking a child face a giant fear all at once, which is terrifying, you break it down into tiny, manageable steps, and you tackle them one by one, just like you're climbing the rungs of a ladder. And if you're wondering why this works, it's pretty amazing. This approach literally helps rewire their brain. See, each time they successfully complete a step, it creates a new, safe memory that starts to compete with the old scary one. It gives them real proof that their biggest worries, they usually don't happen. And maybe most importantly, it shows them that they can feel anxious and still do hard things, which builds this incredible sense of confidence with every single step. So how do you actually build one of these things? Well, the most important word here is together. This has to be a team project. You're not the boss here, you're more like the coach. And your kid, they're the star player. Let's walk through exactly how it's done. Okay, there are just 4 basic steps. First, pick one fear, just one. Trying to fix everything at once is just too much. Second, you and your child sit down and brainstorm all the tiny little actions related to that fear. Seriously, no idea is too small or too silly. Third, you're going to rate how scary each of those actions is. And finally, you use those ratings to build your ladder, from the least scary thing at the bottom to the scariest thing at the very top. Now, this rating system is absolutely key. You can use a simple scale from 0 to 10. 0 is no big deal, I'm totally fine. And 10 is absolute worst-case scenario panic. The whole point is to find steps that are in that sweet spot, that hard but doable zone. You want it to be challenging, sure, but not so scary that your child just completely shuts down. It's a stretch, not a panic attack.
And that brings me to the #1 most important rule of this whole thing. This is not about tricking or forcing your child to do something. The whole process will fall apart if it feels like a punishment. You need them to buy in. When they help you design the ladder, they feel a sense of ownership. It stops being a chore and starts being a brave adventure that you're on together. It's all about teamwork.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what does a fear ladder actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at a couple of examples for some really common childhood fears. All right, here's a great example for a 7-year-old who's afraid of sleeping alone. Just look at how gradual these steps are. They don't jump from a 3 all the way to a 10. Nope. They start with just staying in the room alone for a little while. Then, sleeping on a mattress in the parents' room. Then, moving that mattress a little closer to the door. Each tiny step builds on the last one, making that final goal, sleeping all night in their own room, feel way more achievable.
And here's another one for an 8-year-old who's terrified of being late. The steps here are a little different. They're not just about actions. They're about challenging the worried thoughts behind the fear. Like, what really happens if we get to school just as the bell rings? What about being a few minutes late to soccer? It's basically a planned experiment to prove to them that the world doesn't fall apart and that they can totally handle it.
So, you've built your ladder. Awesome. Now for the actual climb. This is where your coaching skills are really going to shine. Let's go over some really essential tips to make this whole process go as smoothly as possible. Okay, listen. Your child is going to get stuck. I can pretty much guarantee it. It's a totally normal part of this. The key is to be flexible. If a step is just too hard, that's okay. It just means you need to create a new, even smaller step to go in between. And please, remember to praise their courage for just trying. The goal isn't perfect success every time. It's about rewarding that brave effort. You only move up to the next rung when the current one feels noticeably less scary than it did at the beginning. Now, this is maybe the most crucial point of the whole thing. Anxiety is like a wave. It rises, it hits a peak, and then it always comes back down. The real magic happens when your child can stay in that scary situation just long enough to feel the wave come down on its own.
They learn from their own experience that the feeling, as awful as it is, will pass. They don't have to run away for it to go away.
Especially for younger kids, facing fears can feel like a total drag. So, why not make it a game? If you frame it as a bravery challenge or a secret mission you're on together, it can completely change the vibe from something they have to do to something they actually want to do.
And a fantastic way to do this is with the simple reward system. You can sit down and create a brave prize wish list together. Then, every single time they attempt to step on their ladder, they earn a token or a sticker for their bravery bank. Once they collect enough, they can cash them in for a prize. It's great because it shifts the focus away from the scary feeling and onto the fun of earning a reward. As you and your child are climbing these ladders together, just know that something much, much bigger is happening. This isn't just about getting over a fear of dogs or the dark. You're actually helping them build a foundational skill that will last a lifetime.
And this is the ultimate takeaway. The point of all this is not to create a fearless child. I mean, that's impossible. Fear is a normal, healthy part of being human. The real goal is to raise a child who knows, deep down, that they are more capable than their anxiety. It's about teaching them that powerful little voice inside that says, I can feel scared and I can still do this. That, right there, is the heart of resilience.
So, by guiding your child up these ladders, you're not just helping them with whatever fear is bothering them today, you're giving them a blueprint, a strategy for facing challenges for the rest of their lives. So, the only question left is, what's the first tiny, brave little step that you and your child can plan together?